Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nettie from Nettieshairtique, and I am back with another video. Today I am going to be creating a kinky straight wig with a 6x6 HD closure. So I'm going to take my closure and I'm going to place it on my cap. I will be using a mesh ventilated cap today. And I just want to make sure that my closure is stretched out to where it needs to be because it's a larger closure. And I also want to make sure that it's centered and laying flat. Once that's done, I'm going to get the hair out of my way. I'll make any adjustments that needs to be made, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew that closure down to the cap. That's done, I'm going to start to draw my guidelines. And for this wig, since it's a larger closure, the closure comes, further back on the cap. So it's not as much space as using a 5x5 closure. So the one difference that I would do if I make this wig again is that I would make the lines a half an inch apart instead of an inch, because I do have 3 bundles. And it was it became difficult to put the tracks down. I had to start tripling tracks to get most of the hair fitted onto this cap. If it was a mesh dome cap, I wouldn't have cared because I don't mind tripling and quadrupling tracks on there, but I really don't like to do it on the mesh ventilated cap. I prefer to just have single or double tracks on the ventilated caps. So I'm just going to start to double my bundles, and I'm going to start sewing down those bundles onto that cap, and then I'm going to move on to highlighting this wig. If you're looking for a detailed video on how to sew your bundles down to a mesh ventilated cap, I do have a very detailed video on my channel. It shows you how to place your guidelines and how to sew the bundles down. I do a zigzag on the mesh, and I also use a straight stitch when I get onto the plastic. And I also, I show you how to avoid sewing down the adjustable band and the tabs and things like that. So if you're looking for a video on that, please go check that out. Okay, so this is how the first couple tracks are looking. Make sure not to sew down those tabs or that adjustable strap. And now I'm going to move on to the next lines, and I'm going to go ahead and finish this wig up. Alright guys, so now it is time for me to start putting my highlights in here. I separated the hair into 4 sections. I have the 2 sections in the front and 2 sections in the back. And I'm going to start to work on the back of the wig. So I'm going to start working on 1/2 of that back section. and I'm doing the weaving technique for my highlights. I'm going to back comb the hair just a little bit because I like my highlights to, you know, to look nice and blended. And I'm just going to make sure to saturate each section of the hair. The hair is really thick, and I just want to make sure that I get enough bleach on there to saturate it to get some nice highlights. I'm sorry for the light. I was working with some ring lights, and my ring lights were all over the place. I didn't really want to get up to adjust it, so I just left it. But I'll fix it later, and then you guys will be able to see better. But basically all I'm doing is just weaving through. I'm just going to show you guys the pattern that I'm using for my highlights. All right, so now the other section that's in the back, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to weave through that section. Back comb it and then add the bleach. Then I'm going to let down the next row, and for the next row I am going to weave right in the middle of those two sections that I made at the bottom of it. I'm going to do it right in the middle. So I'm just kind of just showing you guys the pattern that I'm using when I'm creating my highlights. And I'm going to repeat this pattern up to the top. And if you want to create high and low lights when you're doing your highlights, you can, you know, mix bleach with a 30 or a 40 and then mix another one with a 10 or a 20, and that'll help you create like low and highlights in your unit as well. Now I'm placing those highlights right in the center of those two that I placed on the sides, and I'm just doing exactly what I showed you at the bottom. I'm going to do that at the top, and then I'll show you guys how I do the sides in the front. Okay, so my back is done, and now I'm moving on to the front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rows that already have highlights in it, and I'm going to line that up with the front, and that's where I'm going to add my highlights to. So I'm just putting highlights on the same rows that I did in the back, pretty much. And this is like a pretty basic guide that you can use if if you're for a starting point. If you're, new at this and you're just thinking like, where should I put my highlights? This is a really easy and direct guide that you can use, and your highlights will come out really nice each time. And then afterwards you can use it. You can, the whole key is to just be creative and kind of just come up with your own thing and, create your own looks. And then you can start placing highlights in other places and, things like that. This is like my go-to guide when people want highlights. It's like, it's not a lot, it's not a ton of highlights, but it's enough to make the whole wig look like it has highlights. And then I'm gonna do the same exact thing on the other side where the part is where it hangs over, and then that's it. And I'm gonna go ahead and wash and condition the hair. And that is how my hair is looking. This is my top tier bundles, by the way, and they bleach really, really well. All right, so this is how the hair looks after I finish washing the shampoo. I shampooed it and conditioned the hair, and this is how she looks. And I'm going to let her dry, and then I'm going to come back and style her. All right, so now she's dry, so I'm going to get into plucking. And then after I pluck, I'm going to straighten the hair just a little bit, because my customer requested, she also wanted some layers, some long layers in this unit. So I'm going to straighten her just a little bit, and then I'm going to add those long layers. Okay, so now I'm just gonna add my heat protectant all over this wig, and then I'm gonna start to straighten it. The key thing when it comes to the Kinky straight is that I just use a lower temperature on my my flat iron. I had moved her to the mannequin because I wanted to get a picture of how she looked in her natural state without me before I cut it and before I straightened it and cut it. And this is how she looks on the mannequin. She looks really good. Trying to fix her eyelash. Please don't pay that no attention. I know if you follow me on Instagram, you probably see my mannequin looking drunk every day, I swear. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just finish. I already started straightening, so I'm going to finish straightening it on camera because I had to charge my battery a little bit. So I just make sure that I go in. I already put heat protectant on it, but I'm also using my heat protectant spray on top of that. And then I'm just gonna do a 1 pass. I usually have this flat iron goes up to 30 as far as the temperature. 30 is probably like 450 degrees or whatever it is. So I make sure that I go ahead and I lower it down to 20. The 20 is probably more like 350 or like 300 or whatever. But it's enough to get it to where I needed it to be without completely straightening the hair out. I still wanted it to have some texture. Okay, so now I finished straightening her out, and now I'm gonna just start to cut those layers into the hair. And I do have a detailed video. I have a video showing you guys, giving you like a basic guide. So if you don't know how to cut layers at all, you just like, I need to learn where to start, you can definitely check that video out, and it will just give you a basic guide. It's the guide that I learned when I learned to cut, and I follow that guide, and it helps me every time. And then you can also use that guide to get better and, you know, to cut more layers and things like that. But I always say to start with the basics. Start with the basic guides. You have to learn the basics first. You don't want to just go in ass first, just trying to cut all these crazy layers in the hair and you don't know what you're doing, because you will F it up. Because Lord knows I've had my fair share of bad cuts, and that's why I went and took a course to learn how to cut properly. And this is how she looked after I put the layers in. I love the way she came out. She looks so good. Kinky straight is one of my favorite textures. Out of all the textures, Kinky straight it always gives. I swear, it always gives. This was my first time adding highlights to Kinky straight hair, and I wanted to make sure that it came out looking good. Don't forget to leave your girl a comment. Please let me know what you guys think. Give your girl a like, hit that subscribe button. I will be back with more videos. And until next time, bye-bye.